We're going to talk to you about plastic baits. They're an alternative to live bait. They're also alternative to expensive crankbaits. And you can fish these pretty reasonably as far as the cost. So you start out over here with the Senkos. Those are become a pretty popular bass bait. They'll catch largemouth, smallmouth, pike. You'd be surprised what bites some of these. This is the venerable old rubber worm. They've been around about 75 years now, and that's a pretty popular all-around bait for largemouth and smallmouth. There's a couple ways to rig them. This one here is rigged with the hook out. You can fish that with no weight or with weight, and you can just swim it over the weeds or through the weeds. And the hook is exposed, easier to hook the fish. This is kind of weedless, snag-proof, and it can be fished with no weight again, or it can be with what they call a Texas rig with a sliding sinker. And you can throw that into a brush pile or into the weeds, and a good chance it's going to remain snagless because the hook isn't exposed. And go down through, and you got these shad baits. They got the swim tail. That tail actually swims through the water. This one here is a frog imitation. You can throw in the weeds, and these flippers on there make it look like its legs are kicking. This is just a grub with a swim tail that swims back and forth. This is a kind of an imitation Helgermite. Now there's some of them around here. They're mostly stream orientated. You see these pictures on the front. They're a lot bigger on a real one. But I can tell you from experience, when they bite, you're going to bleed a little. Not much, but a little. They grow into what's called a Dobson fly with a wing about that long. Looks like something from a horror movie. But they're harmless. They can't bite when they're the Dobson fly. This is a double twist tail. It's kind of more of a trailer than anything else. A lot of people use them on spinner baits. Then you go to the regular kind of Mr. Twister knockoff. This thing actually swims right through the water. When you're pulling that through the water, you see it swimming. And here's one that's got multi tails on it. Another thing that had more action to maybe get fish. You take the brighter colors, like the pinks, something with chartreuse. They usually are real good for panfish. They work real well for bluegills. They work real good for crappies and perch too. Perch, they all like bright colors. Yeah, the orange one, well, no fish ever saw anything orange like that, but sooner or later one will bite it. This one here, of course, is plain brown and orange, you know, to imitate probably a crayfish. This one here, who had some bad luck of losing a leg, that was a kind of a creature bait, supposedly to look like a crab or a crayfish, but they make so many different plastic baits that if we had a sample of everything here, we'd have 2 tables full. Some of them look like something from a mini horror movie, where fish bite them. So with the jig, if you want to rig these, you want to get about 3/4 of the body. See that hook there? And there's a barb here. Okay, I'll show you how that works. You take this and you feed it on about 3/4 of the way down the body. Then you break the hook through. Then you shove it up that reaches the head. Then you give it about just a little twist back and forth. That kind of locks it on that. This one's just a split tail, same thing, kind of plain. Never be afraid to tip these with bait, whether it be a spike, a piece of worm, or a bigger one. Like you can put a minnow. Jig and a minnow is a real popular lure in the colder water. Like October, November, it's a real good lure for smallmouth, largemouth, walleyes. And this is the Senko rigged on a jig, a regular jig hook. Probably an 1/8 ounce jig. And if you're really fishing these, I would prefer a stand-up jig. So when it's in the water, it's like this. The largemouth or smallmouth would come up and vacuum it in. Here you got the rubber worm that's rigged. You can fish that weightless, or you can put a sliding sinker on like this with the hook exposed. Weightless, you could fish it over the weed beds. This one here with the sliding sinker would be pretty much weedless, and snag proof. You can throw that into a brush pile. Chances are you're going to pull it or a fish out and not lose it stuck in a tree. And here's another one of the hideous things that is rigged with one of the white gap hooks. So with that, does anybody have any questions? I had a pretty good spiel then.
Yeah.
Hey, can anybody tell me how fish gets bigger? No, I'll tell you how. He gets away, because every time you tell that story, the fish gonna get bigger.